Hello and welcome. If you're planning to sell your house and wondering how you can save income tax on the capital gain on it, then this video is for you. Capital gain is the difference between the sale value and the purchase cost. If the sale value is more than the purchase cost, then you have to pay tax at applicable rates. But this video is not about the computation of capital gain and income tax on it because I already have a separate video on it. If you would like to know more about it, you may consider watching it, the link in the top right corner. But in today's video, we are going to understand how you can save tax on the capital gain on sale of your house. This tax saving is possible if you invest in other assets like buy or construct another house, buy notified bonds like NHAI or REC bonds. But the focus of today's video is to understand the exemption of capital gain on sale of your house when you buy or construct another house. Let's call it as the new house. In this video, we are going to understand what are the time limits within which you have to buy or construct this new house. What is the amount of exemption of capital gain, and in the end, let's understand if you want to buy or sell more than one house, then would you still be able to avail this exemption benefit. Let's say here is your house which you have purchased for a value of 30 lakh. Let's say you have sold this on 1st March 2023 for 50 lakh. Let's now compute capital gain on this. Here we have two scenarios. First, let's say you purchased this house on 1st Jan 2022. So sale consideration, that is the sale value, is 50 lakh. Cost of acquisition, that is purchase cost, here is 30 lakh. So the difference between these two, that is 20 lakh, is the short-term capital gain. Short-term because here the period of holding of this house is less than 2 years. That is, the difference between date of sale and date of purchase is less than 2 years. In case of short-term capital gain, the rate of tax would be as per your slab. So, if you are in a tax bracket of 30%, then 30% of 20 lakh would be 6 lakh. This would be your income tax liability. In addition to this, surcharge, if any, plus health and education cess at 4% would be extra. Now the second scenario, let's say you have purchased this house on 1st Jan 2019. Sale consideration here is going to remain the same, 50 lakh. But here there is something called the indexed cost of acquisition. This is basically the cost of purchase adjusted for inflation. If you would like to know how to compute this indexed cost of acquisition, you may consider watching my earlier video. So here the indexed cost of acquisition is 35 lakh 46,430. And the difference between these two, that is 14.5 lakh, would be your long-term capital gain. Long-term capital gain because here the period of holding of the house is more than 2 years. So it is going to be treated as a long-term capital asset and the gain would be long-term capital gain. This indexed cost of acquisition is applicable only for long-term capital assets. And in case of long-term capital gain, rate of tax would be 20% flat. So 20% of 14.5 lakh would be 2,90,714 plus surcharge, if any, and health and education cess at 4% would be extra. Now the capital gain exemption that we are talking about is actually not applicable for short-term capital gains. To put it differently, this exemption benefit is available only for long-term capital assets when you have long-term capital gain. And to avail this exemption, you need to buy or construct another house. Let us now see what are the time limits within which you have to buy or construct new house. It is 1 year before sale or 2 years after sale. And in case of construction, then the time limit here is 3 years after sale of the old house. Considering the same example, you have sold the house on 1st March 2023. So time limits would be after 2nd March 2022 or 28th Feb 2025. And in case of construction of new house, time limit would be by 28th Feb 2026. Now here there is one important thing to note. If you don't buy the new house or don't spend this money within the time limit to file your income tax return, for example, here the house is sold during the financial year 2022-23. So the last date to file ITR for financial year 22-23 would be usually 31st July 2023. So if you either don't buy the new house or don't spend money within this time limit, then you have to open something called capital gain deposit account. You can use this deposit to fund the purchase or construction of your house within the time limits. If you don't use it within these time limits, then you would be required to pay tax on it. Here there is one restriction which is worth noting. The new house that you buy, if you sell this new house within 3 years, then you would be required to pay income tax on it. So if you are availing this capital gain exemption benefit, then if you don't want to pay any tax, ensure that you sell the new house only after you complete 3 years. Let's now talk about the amount of exemption. It is either the cost of acquisition of the new house or long-term capital gain, that is LTCG, whichever is lower. Let's say the price of the new house is 25 lakh, and considering our same example, LTCG is 14.5 lakh. So here the amount of exemption would be equal to LTCG. But if the price of the new house is 12 lakh, then amount of exemption would be equal to 12 lakh and you would be required to pay tax on the remaining 2.5 lakh. In the last union budget, another change has been proposed, and once the finance bill is passed, this change is going to be effective from financial year 2023-24. After this change is effective, capital gain exemption would be capped at a maximum of 10 crore. So your long-term capital gain cannot be more than 10 crore. This is basically to discourage high net worth individuals from availing this exemption benefit. Now let us see, if you want to buy or sell more than one house, would you still be able to avail this exemption? First, let us see when you buy more than one house. Usually, this capital gain exemption benefit is applicable when you buy only one house. But there is an exception to this. You can buy two houses provided your LTCG is up to 2 crore, and you can do this only once in a lifetime. So if possible, make use of this opportunity. Now, can you sell more than one house and avail this exemption benefit? There is no restriction as such. You can sell more than one house and yet avail this exemption benefit provided you meet all other requirements. This is all I have for you today. Hope the video was informative. Thank you for watching.